Hello and welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hey everyone, really glad you're here today.
We are so excited to have you here where we're going to be talking about live events or in-person events, but in all cases, events that you set up on your AttractWell system that you take payment for. We do have additional trainings on setting up and using our events feature, but today we're going to look at this from the context of something that you might be wanting to host and take payment for. So this could be an in-person workshop or an online workshop or webinar, whatever that might be for you. This is a great opportunity to make greater use of your AttractWell site and its features. And today we will get into all of the steps that you'll need to follow to make sure that you have your event set up and ready to sell. We also have 2 live reviews today, so we've got a lot to get into. As you're coming in, let us know in the chat where you are, what your business is, who do you serve, and how. We're always excited to learn about you guys here in our community. And of course, for you to connect with each other. We often find that there is a lot of common ground between the folks that we've attracted here in this community. Speaking of community, we do have a Facebook group as well if you'd like to join us. These are free calls that we offer at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time every Thursday as an opportunity for you to find ways to work smarter, not harder in your business. And of course, to make the use of your AttractWell platform to its greatest potential. So we hope that you'll give us a shot. If you have not yet, we're $1 for your first month at attractwell.com. And without further ado, let's get into today's content. Welcome, you guys. Keep it going in the chat. Greg and I are going to pop out a video so I can get into these slides that I've prepared for you. And then we will come back out on video and join you after we have gone through today's training. We typically dedicate the first 30 minutes of these hour-long calls to this training content. And then, of course, the latter part, we will take Q&A and work with the folks who have signed up for live reviews. So let's get into it. Today, we're talking about setting up and running paid events with AttractWell. So we're going to get into what it means to create events in AttractWell, what the tools are that you will use to do that. We'll also talk about options for accepting payment for your events and how to connect those things to your events so that you can collect payment on those events. We'll also talk about how you can use campaigns to streamline your communications, both before and after your events. And we'll touch on the use of follow-up plans, both for your organizational purposes in preparing for your event, if you'd like. And of course, if you participate in any kind of manual outreach or follow-up from your events, talking about how we can connect these follow-up plans to your contacts who RSVP so that you can reach out and connect with them after the event has passed. And then, of course, as always, we have our live help and Q&A. So again, if you are here today looking for help, go ahead and add those questions to the Q&A here. Greg, of course, is the creator of the platform, is super qualified to answer those questions. And if it's something that you would like to talk through live, that's something we have the option to do as well. So go ahead and head into the Q&A here live on Zoom. And if you'd like to join us on Zoom and you're watching this as a replay in the future, you can go to attractwell.com/office hours to get on the list and be in the know about what we are teaching next, and of course have an invitation to join us here on Zoom every Thursday. If you'd like to work together on a call like this one, as several folks have chosen to do today, you can go to attractwell.com/work review, and this will give you an opportunity to select a Thursday in the future where you will chat with me in the latter half of the call. So after we get through our content, we will get into those reviews. So if you would like a space on an upcoming call, highly recommend you take advantage of this free opportunity to work together in your AttractWell system here on a Thursday call. And if you are looking for more help, if you'd like for someone to do some of this stuff for you, we've got an incredible team that can help you with whatever it is that you need in your AttractWell system, attractwell.com/concierge. Go and learn more about the work that they've done, and of course, set up a call to chat and get a quote. So before we get into it, I'm really curious to know, maybe head into the chat and let me know what kind of events you offer or plan to offer as a business. Do you have in-person events or workshops? Do you do online events, free, paid? What does that look like for you? So with AttractWell, you can host your events online or in person. So similar to how you might use an Eventbrite or Facebook's event features, you can create events on your own website using AttractWell. These can be online or in person, free or paid, and you could go super simple with a basic RSVP, again, kind of like what you might do with a Facebook or an Eventbrite, but you can also get a little bit more sophisticated and complex using automations and connecting all of the amazing features that AttractWell has to offer you where it pertains to those automations or conditional response, things like that, that you might want to utilize around your events. And of course, all of this is integrated seamlessly into the same platform that you use to show up, sell, and serve as a brand. So in AttractWell, you have this built-in events manager and an events page for your website. So that means that when you are logged into your AttractWell dashboard, you go down to your events, you can click it, and then you can see and manage all of the events that you have set up in your system. And if you go to your AttractWell website.com net whatever and slash events, you'll see that you actually have a public digest of events. That's actually one of the built-in features in AttractWell. You can have your website.com or whatever / blog. That brings up your blog digest page. And then of course, / events will bring up your events digest page. So if you would like to have a public place to display all of your upcoming events that people can RSVP for, you have that built in automatically. All you have to do is set up your events and make them public with your events manager. So let's go take a look at these features and learn how you can set your events up to collect from your attendees so that they can be paid events. And then we'll get into our live help and Q&A. All right, I'm going to switch my share over here to AttractWell so we can get started. All right, here we go. So right now I'm in our events manager. And if we scroll down, you can see over here, I've got my, in my left-hand menu here, we've got our start here, contacts, website and blog, all the way down here under Zoom and events. We of course have Zoom and events. So when you click events, you'll be able to see and manage the events that you have set up in your system. And of course you can add a new one. Creating a new event is really basic and straightforward. You're going to click add. And you're going to input your event's details. So things like the name of the event, the description of the event, the times, right? The time zone, any featured images that you might choose to use. This is all going to be really similar to what you might do on Facebook or Eventbrite or other platforms, right? But then we start getting into really integrating this into your system and providing exactly the experience that you want your leads or your future clients to to have with this feature. So we'll give it a name, we'll give it a description, obviously give the start and end time. And then you can connect a campaign here. This is how you can confirm that they have RSVP'd. If you utilize a date-based campaign, you can not only confirm that they have successfully RSVP'd, but that you can also have emails that go out maybe as a reminder before the event begins, follow-ups afterward, thanking them for coming, asking questions, etc. And just like you would when you are taking registration from a landing page or a page in your AttractWell system, you can also send them to another URL after they've registered. If you are setting up a paid event, highly recommend that you send them to some type of a confirmation page that maybe reiterates the details of like the start and end date, any location information, and of course, telling them to go and check their email so that they are getting everything from you, making sure they're getting everything from you. So highly recommend you create a custom page here that you connect that is a confirmation page for this event. We will get into how we might set up a campaign for this here in just a bit, but I wanted to just kind of run through the context here of all of the stuff that you have available to you. So now we can go down to more event options. Where you are at taking payment, right? Where you are going to be collecting payment for an event, you have two options. One is to use to use PayPal or something like that. So that's right here, optional payments code. You can actually see here if you're using PayPal or another provider that can provide you with code to basically put a button onto a page, you can connect that here. Okay, that is one option. Another option, and this is what I typically recommend if you want to keep it all in-house with AttractWell and make this super streamlined, is to create a page where someone completes registration for the event. All right, so in that case, you're going to want to create a page. And that page is something that you're going to connect to this event link right here. And we're going to uncheck allow self-registration. All right, so that basically what this means is that when someone goes to your event and they go to register, and here we can actually just view this event right here. If they were to click register, and you have allow self-registration selected, it's going to pop this up here where they can put in all of their information, indicate whether they're attending, etc. Or of course, if you are using for paid options, there would be a PayPal button that would show up here and they could click it, go over to PayPal, purchase, etc. And you would need to set that up in PayPal. If we were to set this up and keep it all inside of AttractWell, when they go to register, it's actually going to move them to a page where you will be collecting payment. So let's go ahead and set that up. I'm going to go over to our pages here under website and blog, and I'm going to create a page that sells my live event. So let's just pretend this is going to be a webinar. I'm going to go add, I'm going to create a new page. And if you are selling a webinar or a workshop, I actually really like this Jenna homepage because you have a little bit of copy here that actually is, indicating that there's a free workshop, right? So we can offer a free workshop. Here's what you'll learn in it. Here's a nice little call to action with a button, right? So I'll use this as a starting point. Obviously, you'll want to modify this to your liking. Under settings, I want to set it up to collect payments. So I'm going to require payment. And that payment processor is Stripe. That is something that you'll want to make sure you have set up before you get started here. I'm going to add a payment option and I'm going to call this workshop. I'm going to give it a price and then I'm going to there's not going to be any vault associated with this. So I'm going to make sure that this page is set up. So this is going to be our workshop registration. All right, so I'm going to save this. We can go ahead and view it. Obviously, again, you would do quite a bit more to make this page your own. But when they click this, they have this payment option here. Okay, so this is where we're actually going to be sending people when they register. So let's grab this link to this page that we've created and let's go back over to our events and create a new event. So this is Create a Life of Freedom in 10 hours per week is the name of this workshop. I'm going to create a new one. And then I can put my information in here. So this is going to really be like, what's it about? What's in it for you, etc. Right? And so you add all of that here to your heart's content. You give it its start and end time. Maybe it's going to be next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. I could put an image in here. I don't currently have one that I could use. So why don't we leave that one off for now? I'm going to use no campaign here because I'm using a page to collect registration and payment, right? So after registration, I want to send them to a confirmation page. I'm just going to go find a confirmation. Here we go. Pretend you have one that's already made. So I've got a confirmation here. Under more event options, I'm going to not allow self-registration, and I'm going to send them under here in the event link to the page where they can pay. Okay. So essentially what we're doing here if we want to keep this all in-house, right? You do have the option to go and create a button with your PayPal, etc., and then put that code down here and everything stays inside of your events manager. But essentially what we're doing here is we're using our events manager to create a public listing for these workshops and events that we're offering so that people can see all of them and they can choose the one that they want to engage with. But we're ultimately going to be using the events sort of digest page as a way to drive traffic over to this page where people can register for the workshop. All right, so I'm going to click add event. And then we can go take a look at what this will perform like when we go to view it. So if I go to view, right, we don't have an image and we don't really have any information, but we do have our time. And we can go to learn more here. And this, of course, brings us to this page where we can purchase. All right. Now, completing the picture here in this particular case, again, this is where we would want to have our event listed on our Events Digest page, but we want to take payment on a separate page. We do want to finish the whole picture here by connecting a campaign that confirms purchase, reminds them of when we maybe go live, if this is going to be an online thing, maybe reminds them of location if it's going to be in person, etc. So we're going to use a campaign for that. And then after we do that, we'll go and get into what it looks like to connect it so that it is received by the people who sign up. And then finally, we will take a look at how you can use follow-up plans to streamline your planning and, of course, your follow-up. So let's go take a look at campaigns. And here we're going to just give it the same name as our workshop. You want to keep a standard naming convention, right? So if an event is named something, we'll name the campaign the same thing. We should name the page arguably the same thing as well, right? So this is create a life of freedom in 10 hours per week. All right, so this is going to be sent out. I'm going to prefer email. Oops, email preferred. It's going to be email only if you aren't using text at all. If you aren't like utilizing someone's phone number to send them stuff, then you can actually choose email only. I'm going to go with email preferred because that does kind of provide you a backup if for whatever reason their email doesn't deliver and you do have their phone number and permission to send them texts. So I'm going to add a message to the campaign. The first one is going to confirm that their seat is saved. So we'll say your seat is saved. And it'll be our day 0. Maybe we're going to have event details, right? And any other information. So I'm going to save that message. And then maybe I want to give a reminder for our event tomorrow. In that case, I'll add one message. This will be reminder. Our event is tomorrow. And of course, again, reiterating whatever information you want to share. We'll do perhaps another one. Let's just pretend maybe this is an online event that someone has purchased. So we're going to add another message and tell them we're live in an hour. Again, putting, your Zoom link and any other details here in the message body. And then maybe you want to send something the day after, or maybe you want to tell them about a replay, right? And of course, on and on from there, you can say whatever you want to. Maybe you want to transition your messaging here into one that is sales oriented. Maybe someone paid to attend maybe a low cost workshop, but in that workshop, you're offering discovery calls where you can, on a call, if someone's qualified, sell them on a high ticket package with you or something to that effect. You can, of course, continue the message series here in alignment with whatever your goal is for your communication here. But here's what we want to make sure we do. First, we want to make sure that this is going on a specific date. So if you recall, we're going to be doing this next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Now, if I select that as the date, Tuesday is not when this message shows up, right? So let's go and adjust to 2 days before. So our call is on the 23rd. So now the day before, 22nd, is when they'll receive this message. 23rd, when they'll receive this one. Good to go. So replay is going out the next day. One more step, we're going to edit the times. So here we want our day 0 message to go out. This is immediate, ASAP, right after they've purchased. Then here, maybe we want to send this in the morning. So I'm going to set this up for 9 a.m. And because our event is at 7 p.m., I'm going to send this at 6 p.m. or 5, right? And then, of course, from here, our default time is 5 p.m. Central US time. You can obviously adjust this to fit the time zone of your choice. So once this campaign is created to your liking, where we're going to attach this, again, if we're following the use case of taking payment using Stripe in AttractWell, we're going to go connect this to our page. All right, so let's go back over and find our workshop registration that we created already. Here we go. And here we can actually go in under our settings, under our payments, and we can either attach our campaign right here. And this is going to be important to do if you have more than one payment option and your communications as a result are going to be different. You can specify different campaigns here, or you could simply go over here to the lead section and you can add that campaign here. So this is how to, what was that called? Life of Freedom. Here we go. Create a life of freedom in 10 hours a week. All right, so we'll add our tags here. So this is Life of Freedom Workshop. And we will send them to our confirmation page, right? So here we'll send them to, we'll find a confirmation page we want to use. Here is our, we'll use this confirmation page. And there's another automation option here that you could choose. And this is going to be something that you might want to utilize if you are wanting to keep up with who is RSVPing based on who you've invited, right? So if you're going to come over here to your events and you actually want to be tracking the numbers here, right? So I've sent this to however many people and how many people, you know, said yes, right? In that case, you want to attach an automation that RSVPs your person for your event. So if this is important to you, here's what you do. We're going to go over here to our contact settings to automations. And then we are going to RSVP to workshop. And the action we're going to take is event RSVP. RSVP yes, and there's our event right there. We'll add this automation. And then we can head back over here. I'm going to go ahead and save and refresh the page so that, that we'll be able to see the automation here. So again, I'm using this what to do after a lead registers section here because I only have one payment option. If you have multiple payment options, don't do anything here and make all of your sort of what happens next options connected to your individual payment options on the page. But we're keeping this simple here today. So here the automation will be RSVP to workshop. We'll hit done and save. And now what we can do is go back to our events and we can start inviting to these events, right? So if someone were to, here we'll go view this event. If someone were to be invited here, click learn more, they can head over here, purchase the workshop, right? They will be sent to the confirmation page next, and then they will begin to receive that sequence of emails that follows, right? This is my preferred way to set up paid events in AttractWell. It doesn't require utilizing a different payment method. If you are someone that would prefer to use PayPal or another another payment platform that allows you to create a button, let me just go ahead and quickly show you how you would set your event up. So this is the alternate way to do this. It's not my preferred way. I find it to be just a little bit like you have a little bit less control over it. But I want to make sure you know how to do this either way. So in this case, you would, under more event options, allow self-registration. You would not use the event link here. And of course, you would attach your automation. Or actually, no, in this case, you wouldn't have to attach the automation because it will be RSVPing here. And then you put your payments code in here, and then you would attach your campaign here and your confirmation page here, right? But essentially, if we have it set up as we do right now, where the payment is being processed on a page in AttractWell, all you're doing here is creating a listing for your event so that people can click the button and go off to the page where they actually register. So all of the RSVPing in this case is not happening in the events manager here. It's happening on the page that we're sending them to, that we put right here. All right. Let me know if we've got questions where that's concerned. Pretty please put those into the Q&A if you have them so that we don't miss them. But this is essentially how we set it up. At the end of the day, what you're doing is you are creating a page that sells your event, and you're linking to that page from your events manager, and you can use those additional features. You should absolutely use a campaign where you have that page set up so that someone who registers for this receives all of the information that they need. You want to tag them here, and then if it's important to you that you want to utilize your events manager to keep track of who you've invited versus who has said yes and RSVP'd, then you can use that automation to RSVP them yes on this page here. Final thing I want to show you guys really quickly is follow-up plans. Once you have your event created, you can actually add a follow-up plan for the event itself. So I'll show you what this might look like on an existing event that was demoed quite some time ago here. You can actually have a list of to-dos for yourself, right? Like finalize the agenda or secure the venue. These are your to-dos before you actually host this event, right? So I need to get a table 2 weeks ahead of time. I need to contact the organizer 30 days ahead of time to give them my title or my talking points, right? All of these are things that you can put into a follow-up plan in AttractWell and attach right here by going to add. And again, you can give yourself a to-do, or you could actually create a follow-up plan and attach it right here. Now, if you would like to make sure that you are following steps that are specific to you taking action, right? So things like campaigns are going to send they're going to send confirmations out. They're going to send communications out on your behalf directly to the lead or the person who's RSVP'd. Follow-up plans are internal prompts inside of your AttractWell system that are going to allow you to be reminded to take specific actions, like maybe look this person up on LinkedIn and send them a connection request or something like that. If you would like to utilize follow-up plans for that purpose, using the different options that we have discussed today, we've got a couple of different ways we can go about doing this. First, let's go back to edit the event that we've created. And we'll go to edit. Here we go. So you could, under this more event options here, utilize an automation to attach that follow-up plan of your choice right here. And of course, this is going to be for you if you are not using a separate link. You're actually, using a code right here. If you are using my recommended way of doing this, which is to actually just create a page where you're taking payment. Let me go back here to workshop. You would use that same automation that applied the RSVP, and we would apply the follow-up plan. So let's go under leads, what to do after a lead registers. This is our automation here. So here I might attach a post-event follow-up plan as well. So maybe I want to be reminded to follow up. Maybe this is, I'll just use a follow-up plan that we have here. So now you'll be reminded and that person is marked as having RSVP'd. So the final thing, very last thing I want to show you guys, regardless of which option you choose, putting in a code to collect payment for the event or or creating a page like this one to collect payment for your event, you have the ability to invite to your event using your events manager. So if we again go back here to edit our event, invite is the option here. And you can either invite all or you can filter your contacts. So from here, you would be adding basically all of these folks to your contacts. From here, you can send them a message. There's a lot of things that you can do here. But if you want to keep track of who you've invited versus who has said yes, that is how you would go about setting that up. So I hope that made sense. I typically go through slides to explain this stuff, but I felt like it was a bit more important today for you to actually see how this stuff works in the system. So just remember, there's two options for taking payments in AttractWell for your events. One is to set up a payment through a third-party provider, payment provider, and you take that button code and you put it there into the field that's provided in the event manager for that event. That's option number one. If you choose that option, you're going to connect the campaign to the event, you're going to connect automations to the event, and so on, right? So all of those settings for what happens when a lead registers are going to be contained right there in the event. My recommendation, though, if you don't want to go use a PayPal or whatever, create a page that sells the event. It's more effective anyway. You've got more real estate to sell the thing that you're selling, right? So create the page that sells it, takes payment, all of that, and make that be the event location in your event, and do not allow self-registration. That means that the button that they click is going to send them to that page. They're going to be able to purchase, and then all of the controls about what happens after they register are going to be contained on the page as opposed to the event, right? Because in this case, that second case, my recommendation is you're essentially using the events list as just a way to show here are the things that you can go click off to and purchase, right? So you're not using it as a RSVP tool, you're using it more as a directory. All right, let me take a quick look at our Q&As here, and then I'm gonna start bringing out our folks who signed up for live reviews. Okay, can I add a Canva link to my resources for paid clients in the vault, and how to do that? Yeah, absolutely. So if you create, say, like a template link in Canva, that link, whatever it is, you can hyperlink and put into a lesson, like in the body of a lesson. You could make an image and then they could click it. You could hyperlink the image so that they get redirected to that template. Lots of options there. So yeah, essentially you just want to choose where you want it to show up, and then provide that as a URL. Just like you would link to anything else, you would just link that Canva template. Okay, Randy says, I'm brand new, so I'm still learning the architecture, scaffolding of vaults, courses, events. Could you take a moment to provide a brief definition? Yeah, so where we're talking about vaults and courses, those live inside your member area. And so your member area is a container. So you remember as kids, there are those toys that like have star-shaped holes and square-shaped holes, circle-shaped holes and stuff, and you have to like put things in the right holes. So member areas are a container that only fits vault-sized things, right? So inside a member area are vaults. As many vaults as you can have unlimited vaults, and you can adjust the settings of those individual vaults for whoever is supposed to have access to them. Vaults can be free communities, they can be courses free or paid, they can be group coaching programs, they can be private client dashboards, lots of different options there. Vaults are the things that you sell, the experiences that you sell that live in your password protected member area, okay? Classes are a thing like an online class where there's like a sequence of videos and you give them things to do, etc. That lives inside of a vault, right? So a vault can is a container whose shapes are inside our pages, classes, and discussion rooms, right? So you've got vaults that have these three different types of features inside, as many of those as you want or need. And then you've got the member area that holds the vaults. So that's that piece. Events are similar to, say, like the blog feed on your website. You've got an events feed. So if you have events that are published and publicly available on your website, they'll show up in a list. And they're essentially a place where you can, sure, take RSVPs, or you could use them like I showed you today to send people off to a page where they can purchase and complete the RSVP process. Hope that helps. RT says, I have a free book club. It's a page with a registration on it, but I haven't created an event for it. But I do have campaign emails for it. Am I missing something? Should I be creating an event also? So a book club is going to be something that's meeting on a regular basis. And I would assume that you would want to get commitment from people for the entirety of the book. I don't know if you were around for it, Artie, but we actually did a training on how to run book clubs with AttractWell. And I highly recommend that you check that out. So essentially what you would be doing here is perhaps maybe a few weeks or a month or however long before that particular round, like for that book, for the book club is available when you're promoting registration for that series, for that book. I would maybe have an event there that people can RSVP for, but that RSVP opportunity expires before you actually start hosting the live calls, right? Because again, you want to have people commit unless you're reading very short books every week. So yeah, I would essentially follow the steps that we prescribed using the example that's provided in the book club training that we have on our YouTube channel. And then when someone is going to register, so don't allow self-registration on the event, send them to that page where they register for the book club. And that is where you're going to connect that campaign that you've created, those emails, right? So when they register, they get those emails and you'll use the event to push them over to the registration page. Ricky says, I have a couple questions about blogging on AttractWell. I would like to be able to change the default length of AI excerpts. Is there any way to do that? No. Nope, not, we don't have that control in our system specifically. But what you could do is just use the Write with AI feature and say, paste basically, here's the content of my blog post and say, provide an excerpt focusing on these keywords, maximum this length. So you could prompt, you could just use AI, the Write with AI feature to prompt it for the excerpt length that you want. Let's see, would like to create separate blog archive pages showing the blog post in a specific category or have them listed on a vault page. Is that possible? So there is a way for you to, okay, so on your blog, when you have a tag on your blog, that actually so let me see if I have on the Jane account here. Oops, wrong one. Hold on just a second. Okay, so if I go to view Jane's page, bear with me just a second. I'm going to bring my share up here. Okay, so this is Jane's website. If we go to her blog, which is her website address /blog, you can see, everything that she's got here. And this is her digest of all of her blog posts. And maybe there's multiple pages of the digest, etc. But over here under blog categories, you can actually see that there's a URL that generates. So I'm going to click this yoga one. And so here you have a URL. So here's the website. And then there's blog, tag, yoga. You could take a link like this that connects to your website and your tags, because it's going to be whatever your website address is, /blog /tag /whatever the name of the tag is. That's going to generate a unique page that's only going to have your post excerpts or your posts, depending on how you have your blogs formatted, that are just about that topic. So that is 100% something that you could do. We don't currently have a way to import a particular, import that as a feed into a section of a page on your site, but that link is always going to show the most recent posts with that tag starting at the top. So that's the easy way to do this. It doesn't display inside of a vault, but if you wanted to highlight specific content from your blog, you could simply link to the posts that are most relevant there, put in their excerpts, put in their images, and then you'll just have that there on your page. We do definitely have some wish list stuff in the pipeline that pertains to display of blog posts and blog content and sort of modifications of that. Let's see, I want to be able to embed videos into a blog post. Tried to use YouTube embed code, but that doesn't seem to work. I seem to be left with just listing the URL to the video. So make sure that when you are setting up your video to display on your blog post, so let me go over here to blog posts. All right, so if we wanted to embed, let me see. We'll go find a video from AttractWell here. I'm going to use this image, or this video here. And I'm going to copy this link. Here we go, copy. All right, so got a couple of different options, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come down here to where I'm going to embed my video. I'm going to click this add video here. And you have a couple of options. You could obviously choose from one of your hosted videos if you want, or you could add by link or embed code. So link is what we'll put here. And this would be a YouTube link. Or if you wanted to grab an embed code, which is right here on YouTube, right? So you have your embed options, etc. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Our other option would be to do that. So I'm going to delete this. Since you said you were using an embed code, we'll just play around with that. So we'll pop that in here and click use embed code. And you can see that the video shows up right here. So just make sure that you are using our video embed feature right here. And this applies not just to your blog posts, but also to any pages that you would be wanting to embed content into. All right, want to have members upload videos in the discussion room. Can't see how to do that. They could link to videos that they have, maybe or unlisted videos on YouTube, for instance, or other platforms. But at this time, we do not have a way for people to upload videos, say, into like a discussion room. But that'd be worthy of putting onto a wish list, I think. All right, could I utilize sales pages and registration pages with countdown timers? If so, can you give me clarity? Would I need a registration page and a payment page? I would also need to create a confirmation page. Okay, so in either case, yes, create a confirmation page. And I think that confirmation pages, especially for things that are paid, should be unique to the thing that they paid for, right? Standard boilerplate confirmation pages for they signed up for a freebie, etc. That's okay to use, like to reuse in that case, if you wanted or needed to. But if they paid for something, use a unique confirmation page is my hot take there. You absolutely can use countdown timers on any page of your choosing. That is an embeddable sort of feature of our page sections. It's a design that you can add to any page in AttractWell. You don't need a separate, like a registration and a payment page. The purpose of utilizing the events manager for an event that is paid, that's like actually the registration's being taken on another page, is to utilize the events feature, right? So if you are someone who has multiple events and you want to be able to display everything that's coming up as a business, then you've got all of that there. You're just going to be taking them off to separate places to take payment. And you do not need to have separate registration and payment. In the case of sales pages, the only instance where you would need to have a separate page to take payment is if it is a multi-part payment, because as of the time of filming right now, if you have a multi-part payment, that's something that needs to take place at the vault level. So you're selling a vault that has a membership, for instance, or that has a multi-part payment plan. Maybe it's private client dashboard, with a 6-part payment for a year thing or something like that. So yeah, I hope that helps Calvin and Terry Marie. Is there a one-pager that shows how these events play together, like a process flow for setting them up? We have something like that, like a checklist on our other events trainings. We just really needed one that kind of demonstrated the difference if you wanted to take payment, right? So I think we all pretty well understand if we want to create a webinar and sell seats to a webinar, that we are going to create a page that sells a webinar, right? But if we have a webinar that we're offering, that we're selling seats to, but we're also offering an open house or a in-person yoga class or something like that, if we have a mixture of events that we want the public to be able to see that we're doing, you would want to maybe add this to the list of those things, right? most of us are not necessarily going to use this events manager for the purpose that we've talked about today. This is actually it's a very specific type of use case. If you are someone who's simply offering things that you're selling, right? Like a seat at a webinar or something to that effect, then of course, you can accomplish that very simply with a page. It's very straightforward. We have tons of training and diagrams and courses and stuff that teach you how to create instances like that. But the integration of events was kind of the focus here today. So I do not have a visual aside from the walkthrough that we've provided, but we'll definitely take that into account. All right, thank you so much for your patience. Michelle, if you are here, would you pop your hand up for me? Perfect. Hey there, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So yeah, I saw you had a short list of things that you were needing some help with, I think starting with your domain.
Yes. I wrote my questions down and I had somebody help me with that. Just it was a little confusing from it was like a whole issue with like Squarespace. I like gave the domain to them, so I was able to sort that
Mm,
out. But
mhm.
I noticed that the other pages that I've made are still saying attractwell.com, and I don't know if there's a way that I can change that so it comes out
Hmm.
of my domain.
Yeah,
And like
okay.
I do notice that sometimes it switches. Sometimes I'll go and I'll like type in my website name and I'll click it and then I'll click the other pages and it will say like michelletran.co/work with me. And then sometimes it doesn't. And then for whatever reason, that work with me there is not working. Like I
Okay.
think I did something to it and I tried to change I guess like the link as what it shows up as, and now it's just not doing
Hmm.
that.
Got you. Okay, so I see what's happening here. So first, I think that maybe when like you probably set these pages and a lot of this stuff up before you brought your domain name over, right?
Yes, that's what happened.
Yeah, yeah. So in this case, you just want to go back and modify your menu, your website menu. Because I'm actually in hovering over here, if you can see down in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. This one's
Hmm.
correct, right? This one is set up to go to your blog. Looks like that's working fine. Perfect.
Hmm.
But events also fine. But here, this one was created previously to go to your About Me page. And so that one's set up as a track. So basically the pages. These are built in /blog/events. These are built in contact. Like these are all like AttractWell integrated, but these are pages you created. So we just need to go back and modify those to reflect your actual address, right? So you can see actually right here, this is why it's doing that. So this was, what is that? .co.
michelletran.co.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. All right, yeah, so yeah, this is pretty simple. Basically, both of these where they link to a URL. That is,
Okay, I
that
was
should
almost
work.
there.
All right. Yeah, yeah, you were almost there. Yeah, so now this should work just fine. Well, maybe not. We should double check the actual URL for that page. All right, so let's go take a look at the URL for that page. All right, so view, oh, I see, do you see the dashes? It has dashes in it. So I'm gonna copy the link so that it's correct. So it's not all one word. That's why it was redirecting. So you don't have a 404
Mm.
page. If you had a 404 page, it would have sent us to the 404 page because it was a link that didn't exist on your site. So you see you've got dashes there. That's why that was
Oh,
happening. So yeah, if we go back over to, and definitely create a 404 page, that'll be it'll help you notice, and of course your website visitors be able to maybe help report to you if like something's broken, because the default is to send
okay.
them to your homepage. um, but we want to maybe indicate that we understand that they are trying to go somewhere and they didn't go to where they wanted to go. So here we go, that's the correct one, so that's done. Cool. All right, what else? That was easy.
Yeah, that was so easy. Okay, so when I'm in the forms, when someone clicks, I guess to learn more, I don't remember where I saw this. I think maybe on my blog, but there's a portion that has my phone number on on the corner, and I wanted to remove that. I don't
Contact.
know.
This?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, so that's going to be in your contact information. That's right up here. So I'm not going to put all of your stuff on blast here, but you
Okay,
basically
cool.
just want to come here, click contact info, and you can remove the phone number. And you also, for what it's worth, when you're here in your dashboard, it's included with your AttractWell account, click this chat button and set up a business phone number. And then you could put that in the phone contact there.
Oh,
So
okay.
that there is a phone number. If somebody wanted to text you, then you could chat with them back and forth here. But if you want to remove phone number altogether, you would just do that right over here under your contact info.
Okay, perfect. That was easy.
Yeah.
And then the last one was, so if I'm on my website and then I'm on a different page, so not my home page, but say I'm on like my work with me page,
Mhm.
and then I click the top left-hand corner, Michelle Tran, it sends me to a page that I don't want it to be.
So
Whoa,
it's
that's
supposed to
weird.
send you to your homepage.
And it did that.
Mhm.
Interesting. That wasn't happening before, but I
Do you
guess
have
I
a
don't know
member
what happened.
area? Do you have a member area set up?
I do. I do. I don't
Because
know if
it
it's
doesn't like
public.
if you're inside it, like as a sort of viewer inside it, and you click the top left corner, that doesn't take you to your homepage. I think that takes you back to like the member area main page. So
Okay,
maybe
cool.
that. But yeah, on any other page on your site, unless you have disabled this built-in header and you have something else there, then
Hmm.
and I don't think that you do. So if we go to like about me, this should also nope. That this is just a dark built-in
Okay,
header. So
perfect.
yeah. Yeah, no, that's good to go.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, thank you. I know my questions are simple, but I was like unable to find the answers online. So I appreciate you guys so much. I'm like bragging about you guys all the time. I'm like, they're so helpful.
Oh,
I'm gonna jump on the call. They're gonna help ask all these questions. So thanks. I'm gonna spend more time like going through. I'm like in the process of going through the course creation module. So I'm like learning, and I'm just like writing these questions down. But this has been so helpful. So thank you guys so much. I love you guys.
fabulous.
Thank
We're
you.
so happy to see that. And I love a good simple win, good easy win.
Yeah.
So thanks for that. Awesome. All right. We also have a TL. Hi. How can we
Hey
help?
folks, how's it going?
Great. How about you?
I'm all right, thank you. I am in the process of migrating to AttractWell completely, or trying my best to, anyways. So I just finished doing my homepage, so basically recreating my old website in AttractWell. I was hoping you could give me an honest website audit on how you feel it looks, how you think potential clients and students would respond to it. And I had a couple of questions regarding some granular stuff I'm struggling with. I'm hoping you could help
Okay.
me with.
Yeah, fabulous. Can do. All right, let's take a look at, do you have it set up as the homepage for your site currently or,
No, I
um,
haven't.
okay,
I just have the main list because I haven't published. But it's home. Yeah, that's the one.
okay. So let's go take a view of it. To
This is
start,
basically a recreation of my old site.
awesome. Yeah. So to start, I love the sort of graphic element here of like this like very black and white with the yellow and purple popping out. I think that's great. Because it really
Thank you.
it draws the eye to exactly where you want them to identify first. Because if they don't identify with this, they'll leave the page, and you kind of want that. Excellent. I would decrease the padding here and increase it a bit here just to give this a little bit of balance, right? Bring featured in a little closer to the series of images,
Yeah, that
and
was my
maybe
first question. How do I do that? I
mm,
tried and couldn't
yeah,
manage.
yeah, sure. Oh, well, I see. So what you might do, so there's a couple of options here. Um, what I often like to do is actually create inline images so that they display next to each other and then they'll automatically stack. But I do like the spacing that you've created here. So if you notice, we've got, when I move my cursor here and this sort of yellow highlight, there's quite a bit on the top and bottom. So I'm going to try to select all of
Yeah.
it so you can see that here. And then I'm just going to delete all of this extra space. And then, I mean, obviously we want to have some amount of padding and space here, although I don't hate that. I think that that actually could look quite nice together, but we want a little spacing basically between this section and this one, and between this section and this one. So the way we'll do that is actually editing the section here, and I'm going to give it just a little bit of top padding. So let's see, I'm just going to drag this guy just a little bit. And then this one, this section, I'll click the pencil here as well. And we'll add some bottom padding to this one, just a little bit more than is already there. And then we can actually preview that, see how it looks. And you can see that now it's got a little bit more balance there, right?
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. All right, so similarly here, I would give just a tiny bit more padding to the top and bottom. It would be true of most sections, right? I would just, again, just a tiny bit more padding here. I think that you're using bold and larger text here to really draw the eye to the points you want to make. I think that's really important. Again, with the color, it was good. It's really good. And you could maybe eventually have a page here where you're pointing off to your podcast, but this image is really great. And I know the podcast is a big part of what you do. Excellent.
Mhm.
How I can help. Really kind of connecting on an emotional level. This is great. Request access to free workshop, and that sends them, excellent, back up here to where they can register. No, this is fantastic. I think this is a really, really great start. Testimonials. Ooh,
So
and
how
you've
about,
embedded. Ooh, that's good. I
yeah.
like this. Oh, this is so good. You've got so many testimonials. You've got, oh, this, yeah, this is really, really good. I like that. Let's take a quick look at, let me save the change that save the change that I've made here. And we can take a quick look at our formatting for other device sizes. I don't know if that's something you've done yet. Well, that looks good.
Yeah, I have. There are a couple of glitches. And see
Uh-huh.
there's the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think for this, I think what you're going to notice is the orientation of this image is left as opposed to center. And that's something you can actually modify by clicking the image itself and then
Yeah.
choosing that center alignment. It looks like this one as well, and this one.
I tried
So
that. The problem is then it looks whack on the laptop, the desktop version.
okay. So in this
Any
case, yeah,
suggestions?
my recommendation in that case would be to maybe consider, and here I'll just create a duplicate of this one. So I'll hit enter to give myself a new line. And then I'm going to start adding images. Let me see if I can maybe find some of these that you have included already. And the display is going to be inline instead of breaking text. So that means that I can then add another image. Oops, not video, sorry. Add another image and then keep them in line together. So let me grab another one here. And again, we'll keep that in line. And you will have to kind of play around. Oh, see, I put that in the top. Oops. Yeah, so I want to move my cursor, down to where I want it. And then here we go. So there's another one. I can pop an image in here. And again, keeping it in line is the key here. So display in line. And now you can see them next to each other. Obviously, you're going to want to modify the height of these to make sure they're consistent. And I would probably go into like a Canva or something like that and have a single file that has basically the same image resolution. So maybe like this one, for instance, it's a bit longer than it is wide. And then you just basically recreate all of these logos for these entities so that they are all in that same size. So that's going to give you like a really clean visual look when everything's together. And And yeah, you'll be able to keep everything in line here. Now, the other option that you have that we've done from time to time in PR sections like this is to add a table. So maybe you're going to go, 5 wide on this one, and then you'll add another
Yes.
one or something like that. And then you can actually insert the images into these. That's another way that you could do it. But I think that the first
Nice.
step, just to make your life a little easier, is going to be maybe where they are more square oriented, group those together. And then where you have these kind of longer ones, group those together and display them, a line of these, a line of those, so that you've got that consistency. And you can keep them in these separate sections, just maybe utilize a table like I've shown right there.
Great. Feel free to keep all your changes, by the way. I haven't published this yet.
Okay, cool. So yeah, what else?
I can study them later. So a quick question. The testimonials right now, they're makeshift. I just added screenshots from my old website. How do I best recreate those in AttractWell?
So you mean like these?
Yeah, I
I mean,
just copy pasted screenshots from my old website here.
oh, these are screenshots. Got you. Okay. Yeah. So you would use, so go find a section. So basically find a section that's similar. So this is a 2-column image on the left, text on the right. So there's, you could either use this one or this one. I think this one is set up nicely for something like a testimonial, but depending on how much of a role the image plays, like I think for instance this person is singing, that's important. This person's playing a guitar, that's important. So in that case I might choose this one. Remove the button, of course, and then edit this to your heart's content. So copy paste, edit, modify what's here. And then once you have it set up to where you like it, you can duplicate the section so you're retaining the same formatting. And you could even go into the column editor here. And if you wanted to, because you've done like an alternating one here, you can swap these, right? So,
Oh, that's
but
brilliant.
you're still retaining the same formatting that you like from the one that you create. So recreate one and then use that as sort of like a template for yourself for the next ones.
That's brilliant. Excellent. Thank you. The any pointers on what links I should use on the menu? My last website, I went overboard. It's like overkill. What would you recommend should show up on the menu?
I think the menu really just needs to have the most important things that you would want someone to take action on. So I think in your case, definitely like a bio, because your story plays such an important role in how people connect with you and choose to follow and work with you. So have like an about me or a bio page. Have a work with me page that has the different options of kind of what those things are, including whatever your free resources are. And definitely, because again, you have so much podcast content, I would have a maybe learn or podcast if you want to keep it very podcast specific.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the links on the bottom, privacy policy and TNC, how do I edit those? How do I actually add the
Yeah, so
privacy
this,
policy?
I don't think that you have this set up as a site-wide footer. I think you have the footer as it is included on this specific page. So what I would do is, and we have a training on footers and so on, is I would actually create a footer. And we actually have several. Here's a footer here. So you would be creating this page footer, including, your own information down here, your own links. You could obviously swap these out for images that are more in keeping with your brand colors. You could delete this squiggly thing. I don't think it goes with your brand. But once you create this, you would then take that or indicate that over here under customize my site, you would attach that footer to apply site wide. So that's going to be right here.
Gotcha. Brilliant. Thank you. I have two last very brief questions. One, if you go to the podcast section, there's a glitch there. I can't seem to correct. The font sizes are a little awry. And I tried to regulate them, but didn't quite work. Not got any idea what's going on there.
Oh, you mean like where it gets kind of small here?
Yeah.
So sometimes the code is just, sometimes the code gets weird is I know, Greg, you probably have a more articulate explanation for why something like that happens. But my understanding is that you've got code that's happening. We have a WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get, editor, right? So when you make modifications or you do things like delete or backspace, sometimes while you are backspacing what you see, the code is also maybe deleting or backspacing a piece of code that causes it maybe
Right.
to revert to a default or something like that. So in that case, what I like to do, if you kind of have a section that's gone a little wonky, like in this case where you've got 12-point font here, I'm going to try to select the entire section of text here, if it'll let me. This is kind of odd. Oh, here we go. Yeah, just select the whole thing. So this is the size that I want at 16. I'm going to select all of it. And then I'm just going to, even though it looks like it's all 16, I'm just going to reapply it at 16. And from there, it should be good to go. So if we save and view that, then that should be fine. Yeah, those are all the same now.
Oh, nice. Okay. When I tried that didn't work. But I think part of the problem is I just copied pasted this text from my old website. So I feel like that might have something to do with it.
It very much could, yeah. So one thing that you might consider when you're copying and pasting is maybe select the text that is in the format that you want to maintain, and then you go into here under more text, and then there's this paste plain text tool. And so this will actually paste whatever your text is
Oh,
in the same style of the section that you're pasting into. Because I mean, even if you're pasting from a word processor, there's code you can't see that's being pasted as well. So you can get a lot of really weird stuff if you just control V and just drop things into a section like that.
that's very helpful. Thank you. Last question. Would you add a pop-up form to the page for signing up for mailing lists or whatever? Because I hear different opinions on this, or we just keep it the way it is.
I think that you have a couple of nice calls to action on the page, and you've got a fair amount of content to move through. And I think, and again, this is very much focused very specifically on the content of your page and what I know of your business. I think that you've got it here, you've got it here, and you've got it down here. I don't think that it needs a pop-up, because if they're continuing to scroll, it's reappearing for them. If you weren't utilizing, like say maybe this is at the very bottom of the page, but you don't really have any calls to action in the middle of the page, that might be a case to, have a pop-up, right? Where it's been, they're 50% through the page, they haven't responded to the call to action. Maybe I'm gonna pop it in here. So it can work in that case, but I think that the way that you've structured this page is such that you really don't need that.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Those are all
Of
my
course.
questions, and I really appreciate it. That was very helpful. I'm going to get another call soon to talk about domain, because my current website is on the top 3 results pretty much all over the world. So I really need to make sure I don't lose those rankings, but best I get on another call sometime in the future. Thank you. Thank you
For
so
sure.
much, both.
Definitely reach out to our team about that.
Will do.
All right, thanks. All right, couple of questions here. We're going a little long today. Thank you guys for sticking around. Peggy said, sorry to come in late, having a hard time with campaigns. I write them all, then schedule them, attaching links and calls to actions as needed, tags, automations, etc. Do you have any tips for staying organized as you build them? So as you're building campaigns, how to stay organized with campaigns? The way that I do that is I always start with outlines. My answer is always going to be outlines because it's a format that's really familiar to me. I've used it for almost my entire life, right? Like going into a word processor, creating an outline, here's the thing, and then this, and maybe detail, right? So you're able to indent and get a full 1-page, hopefully, picture of everything that you know that you need to include, at least at a concept level. And then you can go in and you can make those modifications. I also really like this maybe saved into something like Google Docs or something similar. so that you have sort of an archive of what you have set up. So if you do make modifications, you can go back. This is especially effective for you as you might grow and scale, have a team, so that you're always on the same page as to what is where, with the ability to kind of document. Right, so like documenting things outside of your AttractWell system for your purpose. So those would be my tips: is to utilize your utilize an outline, and you don't have to put all of the copy for each message into your outline either. You can go conceptual on this, like here are the main points that I'm covering, here are the links, here are the automations, etc. So so that's what I would do to document that and to keep that for maybe each one that you create, each funnel you create, etc., so that you could always kind of have a sort of your own business reference book, right, of sort of what things are and what they connect to. Janet says, are we to create an event in both the campaign area and the event area? So you're only actually able to create an event in the events manager. The campaign is what you use to communicate with people who have RSVP'd. So if somebody has said yes, they're going to, get the automatic, if it's day 0, hey, you did this successfully, thanks, congratulations, etc. And then maybe the reminders later, like we showed in the campaigns previously. All right, thank you guys for great questions. You guys always have so many of those. I super appreciate you for sticking around. I think Greg had to run, so it's just me and you guys here. We'll be back here same time next week. If you have not signed up for a live work review, I encourage you to do so. If you are looking for more help and you don't want to wait until next Thursday, remember that there is more help available to you. You can reach out to our team. You can also head back over here. I'm going to go back over here. We're in TL's account still, but if we go over here to our Success Academy in AttractWell, there is this option to get help from a real person. If you click here, you'll see all of the different options. Obviously, our office hours training and working together are options. We do have a group help call where you can work with Pam on our team. Pam is a designer. She is an expert on the platform, and she offers hours that are a bit different from what you find here on Thursdays. So be sure to check that out as well. Till then, let me see. There's one more question. Hi, Ashley. Say we are selling our course on AttractWell to an educational institution and they want to know our policies around participant information and privacy. What can I tell them? So I can't give you specific advice as to what to tell them. There's definitely, folks who are in your space that are selling to educational institutions that might be able to provide better advice to that end, or an attorney, depending on the extent that you want to take it. But what I would do in any case, regardless of what the advice is that you get, is that you create a policies and procedures page. You create a privacy policy page, and you link those in the footer of your website, so that those are, that fine print is there for anyone to go and peruse. And those pages are really simple to create. All you really have to do is create a single section that's formatted decently, and you're going to format it just like you would if you were making a word processor document. But as to the content that goes on to those, you definitely want to consult an expert in your field, maybe even, someone for legal advice, to make sure that you've got your bases covered around your business policies and how you uphold them. Janet says, do your people that offer help work evenings and weekends? Quite often, the calls that are available with Pam are closer to evening time. It just depends on where you are, right? So I'm on the East Coast of the US, but Pam is much closer to the West Coast of the US. So what she's offering looks like evening to me. So yeah, there's definitely options where that's concerned. And of course, if you want to work with someone one-on-one, if you want to hire someone from our team, they can't just create websites for you, they can also work with you, right? So if you want to basically have a, I need a private tutor to get this thing done, that is definitely something that members of our team can do as well. There's VA work available that they can do for you. They can create things. Of course, we've got incredible designers, but there's also, there's lots of other stuff. And yeah, not a lot of no to go around. So definitely reach out to them. Asking for a call with them is totally free. There's no obligation. You can chat with them about what the help is that you have in mind. And then of course, they can provide you with a quote and you can choose to move forward from there. All right. I hope that I was able to get to all of you guys. Let's see. Yeah, there is some opportunity for weekends there. I can't speak to their availability, but definitely reach out to them and check. Awesome. All right. Well, we appreciate you so much, you guys. We'll be back here same time next week. Till then, have a great week, everyone. Take care.